Good evening, team. I hope everyone's okay. It's Paul here, Rob here as well. Hope you're doing okay. We're going to be looking at, over the next few weeks, I guess, how to pick a product. We're going to be looking at that, starting at the beginning, moving through with respect to trying to find various different products. We'll do some live sessions later on. See if we can find sort of various different things and to put on a short list, and then we can move forward sort of into the more in-depth areas with respect to listings later on. But what we're going to do over the next few weeks is basically focus on strategies and methodologies and everything on how to pick a product. Can you hear me now, Rob? Or see if I can hear you now.
You can hear me.
Oh, there you go. I can go. I've got you now. So, how you doing, sir? All right. How's your part of the world these days? I know you've been traveling last week.
I have been. I can hear you. Yeah, I'm a little slow, but
yeah, that's good. That's good. So, what I'd like to do to start with is just jump into products to avoid. So I'm just going to jump through that, and then we can sort of move forward from there. Tamir says hi. How you doing? All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All righty. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me do that now. And this document is inside the membership area as well. This is sort of part of our navigational documents. So between Rob and I, we'll go through this. But it's really important straight out the gate that you try and avoid products that give you issues straight, or potentially could give you issues. So we're looking for going down the easy road with respect to trying to pick a product. And there's a few things, or a few categories that you should certainly stay away from, a few products that you should certainly stay away from. And this document we put together allows you to follow that. So if you're not sure on the category or the product, just have a quick look at this, and that's going to give you an idea with respect to whether that's good or something you should avoid to start with. So to start with, let's have a look at the categories that we really should looking to be avoiding. So I just close the doors. Right, so it's basically, if you look through here, you've got the App Store, you've got videos, books, groceries. A lot of the things on here are not applicable for private label products, and others are areas or categories that you need to be ungated in, which is okay, but you just need to jump through a few hoops in order to do that. And some of the particular categories are more difficult to get ungated in than others, but depending on what time of year or how Amazon are actually positioning that particular category with respect to, we need to provide various different documentation. They do change their mind. They do change their requirements from time to time. Yeah, sometimes you'll find it's a little bit easier than others, depending on what time of year it is. So coming out towards the end of the year, i.e. November, December, it's pretty impossible to get ungated in most categories. But anyway, we're looking at this sort of major appliances, fine arts, jewelry and beauty, luggage and travel, anything to do with Amazon, i.e. MP3 cloud players, Amazon TV Fire, obviously we need to stay clear of. Okay. So if we look at down, what we're trying to do is basically eliminate the risk and increase your odds of success. So some of the products to avoid, or some of the types of products to avoid, look at multiple boxes, extra shipping charges, and there's a chance that one of the boxes could actually get lost, missed, not actually included in your shipping to start with. Fragile, anything that's fragile.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Send me the link from the Google Hangout in Facebook, please.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. I'm a little slow on my internet here today.
Right. You're still in Laos, yeah?
I am.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you did say that it could be hit and miss. Okay, I've done that. So you should have that link now, Rob. Right, so products to avoid, we're looking at anything that's fragile. We're looking at ceramics, we're looking at glass, anything that's sort of potentially fragile, sort of finely made products. Long-sided products as well. Golf clubs, not ideal straight out the back. Fishing rods, washing lines, etc., etc. Non-packable, odd shapes. You know, so if you've got a nice regular shape or a product that can fit inside a nice box, that's great. But like I say, if you've got something like sort of golf clubs which are over long, if you've got something like a kid's swing or something like that, yeah, it's an odd shape. It's quite difficult to pack, and therefore your shipping costs are going to be sort of extra, where there's no need to do that to start with. Product weight, something like sort of kettlebell is probably the ideal size, but it's going to be far too heavy. If you've got something that's heavy, it's just going to cost you more money to ship that product around the world. Now, if you're sourcing from China, you're going to be adding additional costs where there's no need to start with. So what we do is recommend that going to be under 2 pounds. Ideally, lighter the better, smaller the better. But sort of try not to go over the 2.5 pounds for sure on that one. Now, products to avoid. We've got this in the initial viability test, which I've got up here, which you can go through some of that sort of later. But initially, what we're doing here is just saying, try and steer clear from products that are selling for under $10 or over 25 in the power zone. Yeah, what we're talking about, the power zone, i.e., sort of more popular areas. So basically what we're trying to do is look for products that you can make money on, that are profitable. So anything less than £10 or $10, sorry, $10. There's very little profit to be made by the time you actually buy the product, ship the product, and FBA have taken their fees out of that. So it's basically try and pick a product that's sort of way over the £10. And in the IVT, we say, okay, try and find a product between $17 and the $50 or to $60 in that range. Products for less than 10,000 in the parent category. We're talking about the parent category. So if I go over here, if I skip down all departments, over here, these are your sort of parent category, sports and outdoors. Yeah, that's a parent category. The top level. Okay, so try and avoid products with less than 10,000, because that just means there's really competitive products. Okay, so if you've got something at is 750, 2,500, yeah, it's looking like this is ideal. more than 3 power sellers. If you've got sort of a product that you're looking for, you're trying to investigate, and you come across a product and you've got 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 sort of sellers that are dominating the top space on the first page when you do the analysis, that means that they have been in the market for some time, and they are dominating that area. And what you'll find is when you do your cost analysis, that they will be taking most of the money, basically, and there's crumbs to be had below that. So therefore, again, it's just a difficult area to be in if you're chasing the crumbs, and you've got the big players, the big guns at the top, and they're dominating everything else. Big brand competition. You don't want to be going up against Johnson & Johnson. You don't want to be going up against Huggies or anything like this. Some of the big brands, you want to steer clear of that. So again, once you're looking at the analysis, you look at sort of the main product page. If you see that it's dominated by brand names, then it's probably not the ideal market to get into. Okay, so you need to be looking for that. Sometimes it's not clear. So sometimes for me, being non-American, I don't recognize some of the brand names. So this is where you need to do a little bit of research. So if you've got a name that is repeated several times, then you should go and have a look at that. Google it, see who that is, and just to make sure that sort of you're not going up against the big brand names. Sold out of big box stores. In other words, it's readily available everywhere else you go. So if you go down, fill up with gas, and you can buy one of these at the gas station, it's probably not an ideal product to get into, because you're going to be trying to compete against the impulse buy when you go and do the groceries, or when you're doing sort of the gas station, or some of these other Lowe's or something like that. Is one sort of big box brand that I do know over in the States. Okay, so, and the other thing is, try not to compete against Amazon. Well, if you've got a few products being sold by Amazon, that's okay. That's okay. But if you've got the whole category, and I know one here off the top of my head is electric pencil sharpeners. If you have a look at electric pencil sharpeners, I think the whole page is sold, or the front page is sold by Amazon. And again, it's going to be very difficult to actually compete there. Now, it doesn't mean to say that Amazon have got their own pencil sharpeners. It just means that the seller has got a deal with Amazon, where Amazon actually taken over the listing, and it's shipped by and sold by Amazon. So they've just got that reseller deal going on with Amazon. But again, if you've got the whole page, or it's dominated by Amazon sellers, then that's probably not ideal position to get yourself into. Let's have a look at some of the sort of the obvious product categories to steer clear from. And why? Because they have higher returns or higher failure rates. Okay, so products that have power cores, batteries, or a lot of moving parts or pieces, the potentially failure rate is going to be quite high. And if your failure rate is quite high, then Amazon going to view that, and you only get so many strikes with respect to failure rates, poor reviews. You will get a warning letter saying that your statistics or metrics are falling below the recommended levels. You'd have to do something about it, and that may mean withdrawing all of your products. If you don't do that, Amazon could well shut you down, could well suspend your account, full stop, and that's it. So, you know, it's like to be picking your product straight out of the gate, and your supplier lets you down because of poor quality, core build quality. Amazon could well shut you down straight out of the gate, you know, with your first product. So let's try and avoid that situation, shall we? And some of the obvious ones that are electrical products, simply because there will be some electrical products that have a natural failure rate in the field, in the consumer lifetime. we've all had it. We've all experienced it. Sort of various different products, electrical products will fail. You've got to take it back. There's no doubt about it. But if you get too many returns from Amazon, you know, like I said, Amazon will take that as your metrics are falling below the recommended, and they will do something. They will do something about it.
And what they won't do, what they will do is keep you from opening up new categories and get ungated.
Yes, yeah, it's not a case of like, all right, that account shut down and open up another one. It's not as easy as that. So you got to be very, very careful. And we know a few people that's happened to, right, Rob?
Well, I mean, it's just basic standard, the way that it works. Because what happens is when they go into open up a category, what they do is they go look at your failure rate. They go look at all of your metrics, and you have to meet certain metrics. So they don't even have to contact you. You just have the wrong metric, and they ain't going to open you up. And especially when you're new, because you don't have enough, you know, it's kind of like, you know, if you only have 4 tests a year in school and you get an F on one of them, that affects everything a lot more. But if you have 400 tests and you have one bad one, that's different. So up front, it's super important. And that's why we talk about these things to avoid. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to avoid them for the entire time you're an Amazon seller. It just means you got to avoid them when you first start so that you don't put yourself in a position where you can't move forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because, you know, straight out the gate, you're just going to have that one product. 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, you know, you could well have 10, 20, 30 products up and listed or more. So having one metric failure is going to impact you less than it is certainly having that one. So you're right. Battery operated. I don't know how many times my kids have got battery operated products over here and they fail, they break, they don't work. And the same thing goes with anything that's purchased from China or the States, so it doesn't matter where. Battery operated products are just going to give you higher failure rates. Plus, you've got certain regulations you need to follow with respect to shipping products around the world. You know, you can't put sort of AAA batteries or anything like this. If you've got a ton of them coming over, that is, you can't airship them. You have to sea freight them. So there's certain regulations you need to look at there. So why get yourself into a hoop you've got to jump through to start with when there's no need to? Lots of moving parts, obviously.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Paul. Just as a side note, it doesn't look like on the page that what's it? Get out of my head. It doesn't look like the chat is working on the broadcast page. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and open up your Facebook in the Gorillas Base Camp, which where we're all, you know, if you're a member of the Gorillas tribe, then you have access to the base camp. If you haven't, you can personally message. I'm just trying to give it either way if anybody has any questions. Now, I do have it live. If you're on Facebook Live, I do have the chat there. So I do have the chat. So if you're on Facebook Live and you want a live chat, I do have that chat up. But it looks like on the actual page, and it may be working on some pages, but this is our third attempt with clunky emails. They changed the whole format on us. Google did. So our basis of how we've been doing this is changing weekly. So.
Yeah. You've also got another option of logging into your YouTube account, going to the live stream there, and you should have the facility to ask questions there as well. So you should have those 3 options available to you if you've got any questions. But please ask. Because some people are chatting, obviously, but if you don't, or if you are having issues, then just follow the instructions from Rob. That's cool. Right, where was I? Lots of moving parts. This is really a case of like Murphy's Law. If it's going to go wrong, it will go wrong. Lots of moving parts. If your grandma can't put it together, then forget it. It needs to be very, very intuitive, very easy. a silicone spatula has just got one component. It's the garlic press has just got one piece. There's no need to actually, when you get the product out of the box, there's no assembly of the product. If there is, then you can bet your bottom dollar that someone's not going to be able to assemble it for whatever reason, and then you're going to get a return for it. I can't work. It's broken. I can't fix it. I can't do this. It doesn't work. Well, it probably does, but they just can't actually work out the instructions. So don't get yourself into that situation to start with. Okay. Difficult products to operate. Okay, if it's fairly complex in order to actually make the product function the way it should do, then again, Murphy's Law is going to jump in, and you can bet your bottom dollar that regardless of the instructions, regardless how easy you think the product is, there's going to be people out there who've got absolutely no idea how to use it, and therefore they're going to be unhappy. Unhappy customers means returns, 1-star reviews, your metrics falling off, and Amazon coming down hard on you again. So again, it's just no need, no reason. Yeah, if you're not sure on the product, just run the product past Rob or I, and we can have a look at it. We can have a quick discussion with you. But just don't get into that situation where you think, you know what, yeah, this is a really cool product. Look at that. But it takes a little bit of getting used to. Just don't do it. Right, like Rob said earlier, this is straight out of the gate. This is like product 1 to 5. Get used to picking a product, get the products up and running, get the products selling. Yeah, it doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't be able to do this later on once you become more established as a seller. But straight out of the gate, as a first product, no, try not to do that. Replacement parts. You look through some of these analytical tools, and you'll come across one of the favorite ones that I come across all of the time is the replacement for the chiller for the water, or the water filters. So there's a ton of those like replacement parts, or the copy parts, and you know that the copy parts are just not going to work correctly. Replacement ink for your for the cartridge, replacement parts for your aircon, stuff like this. Just steer clear of all of that stuff. Okay, just don't go down that road. And just going to open yourself up to issues and troubles later on.
All right, hey, somebody's got a question, and the question is what is branding a product? And so branding a product means that you somehow make a product yours. Now, you can do this by making some change in the product. You can put and just putting your logo on doesn't quite do it sometimes. But when you brand a product means your brand is you, it's your company's name, it's, the quality that you produce. So that's what a brand is. You can put it on the box, you can put it on, I have a product right now that has a plastic cover on it, and inside we created a full color insert that goes inside of the bag, and it's a clear bag, and you can see the insert sits in front of it. So it was very easy without having to spend a lot of money on just printing this poster that goes in front of it, and it's just an insert that goes inside of this clear bag that the product's in. So you're able to see that, and being able to use that as your brand. Now the other things we do is we call it a Gorillas brand sometimes, and what that means is that the main thing that you're trying to do is you're trying to separate yourself from the rest of your competitors. And how you do that is by having a unique product. So one of the Gorillas members last week, actually 2 days ago, sent to me and he said, "Oh, listen, somebody's on my listing." And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And so he basically bought something and didn't do anything as we had instructed to teach people. We teach people how to separate himself from others. And what we do by that is we either add a small secondary product that gives us a unique thing. So you know, I mean, heck, it could be, I mean, I don't want to say this as simple as this, but, you know, you could put, so I had a client who had a tool, and in the tool, we added a 25-cent spark plug gapper in it. And that spark plug gapper, what it allowed us to do is create its own product. So you have to have a product that's unique. Any product that is exactly like another product has to be listed under the same product. That's Amazon's rules. Because what they don't want is 47, you know, links for different products. So, you know, a Huggies diaper set, Huggies diapers is always Huggies diapers, unless it's a different number, a different whatever. It has to be exactly the same. So, you know, if a package has 12 in it, well, the package of 12 Huggies diapers is always the same, and you have to list it. Well, the same thing happens if you end up with a product that you haven't distinguished yourself from everybody else. And that's the key. To be a private label, you've got to be able to have something that makes you unique. And it just doesn't necessarily mean you have to do the package or write something on the actual item. You can do that by having whatever your product is, and it could be two products together, like I said. So this person had a tool. We added another tiny tool that cost us about 25 cents a piece. Well, unless you had both of them, and then we also put it in a, what's the right word? A case. So we had the three tools. They sat in a little case that was really a pencil case, little black one of those little black cases about 6 inches long and about 2.5 inches wide. A little zipper on it. We put that, and we put the spark plug gapper in there, and those three things made it so that nobody could copy that product. Now, what we do sometimes as well is we create a piece of copyrighted material. Now, all that is means you have somebody design an insert that goes into your product. For something we're doing right now, we're putting together a rule book and how to play this game better. You know, and so what we do is we printed that, and now our product comes with this rule book and guide how to play this game better. Well, now what that does is if the other person doesn't have the rule book and the game to be able to play it better, well, they can't sell our product, because part of our product is this rule book and game insert that we have. So they can't just go out and use our product. So that's the purpose. And then what we can do is we can get a copyright on that printed piece of material. It costs $35. And so now you have a copyrighted piece of material. Maybe you've added an extra case or something that everybody else doesn't have on that page. Now, we're not talking about adding things that cost a lot of money. We're talking about adding something, you know, that could be a quarter, you know, I mean, like, and that's where sometimes we'll use Cole Imports if you're doing something in America. And Cole Imports has $10,000 items is really what they have. But you could send that to your house, you could put it in your package, and now you have a unique package. The number one thing we're trying to do is create a listing where we're the only one on the listing. That's the case. So nobody else can sell our product. We're the only one. So that's what we're trying to accomplish with that.
So I hope that answered your question. We're going to go into branding a lot more in depth and in more detail later on, but I hope that answered your question for now. So yeah, that's a good question. Very well answered.
Have any more? Just fire them up.
So FBA, when you're sending products into FBA, you need to be careful what you actually send in, because they don't allow certain things. Some of the obvious ones are dangerous material, hazardous chemicals. Now, they change the rules every now and again. They've just had a quick sort of rule change as well with respect to what is a hazardous material. Or you may hear the term hazmat. Hazmat is just short for hazardous materials, as HAZMAT. So you need to be careful with that, because they don't accept a lot of the stuff. If they do accept it, you need to show quite a bit of paperwork with respect to where you got the product from, what it contains, et cetera, et cetera. So, and again, that's more additional hoops you really don't want to start jumping through. Dangerous chemicals, you can't send in dangerous chemicals, and there's a whole list of products that you can't actually sell on Amazon, or they just will not accept. And I think this is fairly obvious. You know, so don't send in dynamite and stuff like that. So you just can't ship them in. So liquids, a lot of people sort of get tempted to go into sort of lotions and potions and sort of various different things like this. But you got to remember that your products will be shipped in a box, and in that box you may well have 12 items, for example. What if one of those 12 items leaks? That means that all 12, if not potentially the boxes around the box, if they're stacked on and your products are leaking out, the box underneath is going to get damaged as well, and potentially it's going to cause an absolute nightmare. To start with, you're going to lose your product because Amazon won't actually accept it to this, like, this is leaking, we're just going to get rid of that. So just don't go down that road to start with. There are ways around it, but that's later on. Let's get more experience first. So steer clear of liquids.
And by the way, almost and the dangerous chemicals thing. I remember Paul and I had you guys have not been around, but Paul and I did a product last summer that had citronella in it, and Amazon took our product and set it aside for hazard review because they thought that whatever we were doing had some kind of chemical in it. So anything that goes on someone's body, in someone's body, and sometimes even on a dog or in a dog. So supplements and those kind of things and those things we don't try to get into out of the gate. Remember, this first thing is we're trying to get a first couple of products up so we understand the system. We've done it in a small way so we can, on the long term, we can make some money long term and learn this process and get better and better at it instead of going out. And I see this happen all the time. I'm going to go buy 10,000 pieces or 1,000 pieces of something. Well, how do we even know it sells? And so that's why we want to kind of stay away from these items. So hazardous materials, so things that go on or in people, you know, or have any sense that they might be a chemical or something like that, can delay your process. Paul and I had this. Paul and I had this product, and the product got claimed as hazardous. And next thing you know, it took us a month and a half, and you know, we're out of season on it. So that can happen. So it's just a matter of these things and the products to avoid are reasons to get people, get you from not doing something that you can't get back into or you can't get out of later once you've, you know, spent your time or your money getting into something, and then Amazon holds you up for 3 months or may not let you sell it at all. So we're trying to keep this very basic, very simple, and to create the best possibility for your success. You know, we're trying to reduce the amount of risk that you have everywhere. It's a strategy. All right, Paul, go ahead.
Well, yeah, just picking up on that. Can you imagine if that was our first product? You know, if that was our first product we actually sent in, and all of a sudden, like Amazon said, "Yeah, well done, thank you very much, gentlemen. We're just going to put that to one side for a couple of months until you actually sort yourselves out, provide all the information." Yeah, as a first product, you can't afford for that to happen. Luckily, that was not the first product. We got tens of products up, tens of 20s and 30s of products up. So you know, that's exactly why you shouldn't go down this road to start with. Trademark infringement, very, very easy when you're searching around on Alibaba, AliExpress, some of these other Chinese sites, to come across some really nice products. You think, you know what, that's cool. That's nice. Look at that. Look, it's got some sort of Pocahontas on it. It's got Mickey Mouse on it. It's got Steph Curry on it. It's got all of these like branded like images. If you actually purchase those, bring them into FBA, or to start with, I don't think you actually get them in, but you are definitely infringing a trademark. Okay, you will get yourself into trouble. You got to remember that the Chinese are excellent at copying products. Now that's what they're famous for, and not necessarily in a bad way all the time, but that is what they are very. If you give them products, right, can you replicate this, please? They're very, very good at copying that. But in some cases, they don't care because the trademark is not registered in China, so therefore it's quite legal for them to sell those products in China. But if you actually start to purchase those and you think, you know what, I'm going to sell those on Amazon because I know that Golden State Warriors is top of the game at the moment. I'm going to make a killing here. That's definitely the wrong move, wrong mindset to have. So steer clear of all branded products. You can't actually purchase a branded product legally and bring that into the States. Full stop. So don't even think about it.
Right. Yes. Like 100% of the time, nobody in China can sell someone else's product to you. It may look like it. It may be the same product coming out the one side of the assembly line and the other side of the assembly line. Doesn't matter. It's against the law, and it's a criminal offense in reality. Someone else's product. I mean, I was in New York, I don't know, 2 years ago now, and I was in Chinatown. And you know, if you've ever been to Chinatown or been to places where they have these Louis Vuitton purses and things like that, and the Coach purses, and you know, so here the Coach purse or the Louis Vuitton purse at the Louis Vuitton store, you know, uptown is $800, and lo and behold, they're selling for $40 down in Chinatown. Now, the same person is, but I can tell you, I have went to both stores and looked at both of them, and I tell there's a difference.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's really, really difficult to tell the difference between the real deal and a copy.
Exactly.
But nevertheless,
I'm telling you, one aisle and the other aisle, putting stuff in the back of his van. The other guy's going shipping to Louis Vuitton. I mean, what I'm seeing is these guys are rolling around with garbage bags, or you know how they used to do the watch guy used to open up watches. Well, that's kind of how this is being done now. That's how this is being done now on in near they come up and then they show you a their suitcase, or they have a picture of them, and then the guy goes and runs up and back down with your purse because the federal got involved in this. So the bottom line is just don't sell branded products. Branded products are other people's products. You wouldn't want somebody selling your product. You've invested your time, and the bottom line is don't sell branded products. You could get your account suspended for sure. So if it has the name of another company on it, there's a 99% chance that it's not available. Now, you also have to be careful. You know, if you've got a very unique product, and you would think that somebody was able to patent this, you need to check your patent and do a patent search on it, and you need to make sure there's no trademark on it as well, and that would come along more along the branded part of it. So that's really not as big of an issue. But the patent and the use patent is what you've got to be careful of. And you know, so if you have a really unique looking thing, and go double check and make sure that somebody hasn't, you know, created that product, you know, exclusively themselves and had it designed. There you go, Paul.
Yeah, patents. That's a really good point, Rob. You know, and it's quite easy to go and do a quick search on Google. Just type in sort of Google patents, and Google have got their own patent search engine, so you can put in various different things that you're looking for. And if you see something that, you know what, yeah, that looks like mine. Now you got to remember, with a patent, it can be a sort of design patent, it can be a sort of physical detailed patent. If it looks similar to what yours is, there's a good chance that the product that you're looking for is patented, and therefore you should not be selling it. There have been a number of cases where a simple product, such as it was a chainmail square, and they call it a skillet cleaner. Well, that particular product was patented, and I knew a few people that were selling that straight out of China, straight onto Amazon. And after several months, the patent owner, as in the original design owner of that particular sort of skillet pan cleaner, approached everybody and says, you should not be doing that because it's my product. Here's the patent. Please take everything down. Now, in that particular case, they were quite lucky, the other sellers, because they managed to strike a deal with respect to getting some money back out. And the original owner purchased all of the stock because he knew where it's coming from. It was coming from his supplier. So again, it's something you need to be careful of. But in some cases, you won't be as lucky as that. But yeah, you definitely need to check whether there's a patent. And I'd done a quick search on that, and it was clear as day, first one in there. It was patented. So you need to be very careful. So eliminate the risks. That's what we're all about. Eliminating risk, risk mitigation, risk management, whatever you want to call it. Don't go down the risky route. Okay, always look at increasing your odds, as in taking the easy road. In this particular case, when we're starting out this business, picking a product to sell on Amazon, pick the easy road. Try not to go down the risky route. Okay, so we have covered quite a bit here. This document is inside the membership area, and it's readily, you can just download it. There is a number of links around sort of products to avoid, but this really is, this is you need to get this in your mind when you're checking through products. When you're checking through products on Amazon, when you're doing your initial search, whether it just be in here, kitchen products, such as something as broad as kitchen products, you automatically need to be looking down here and having this list in your mind. If it's not in your mind, then print this out so it's handy, so you can follow it along. I say all of these products down here. So I would automatically, look at this and say battery operated electronics, steer clear. Battery operated, steer clear. This is okay. It's a wire product. That should be all right. But I need to check the dimensions because I'm not sure how big that is. So this is how my mind is working automatically, because I now have this list automatically in my mind. And you will, once you start to go through this product research, trying to find products, you'll automatically have these products to avoid in your mind, and you'll be able to automatically filter out a lot of the products automatically without having to refer to it again. But initially, print it out and apply it. Apply the logic to when you're searching through. Silicone thing, that looks all right. So that's in the safe zone. Put it that way. But the price is not good. So $6.99. So automatically, I'm applying the logic with respect to the products to avoid, because I know that I shouldn't be selling products under $10. And when we go over to when we go over here later on, we're going to be looking at sort of the price between $17 and $50. Okay. So I'm not going to go through this in detail today because that's a whole session on its own right. But I know that $6.99 is a product that I do not want to be getting into automatically. So you can see as I'm rolling down here and trying to do some analysis, I'm automatically applying that list as I'm going. This set here, 59-piece combo. What's the chances of one of those items being missed out by the supplier when they're packing it? Quite high, would I say. To start with, I'm not going to take that risk. A dozen towels, well, if there's only 11 in there, if there's 13, there's a bonus. But again, look at the price, $12.95. So I'm not actually diving into any of the products. I'm just scanning through this, just to have a look at this. This looks like a cleaner. I'm going to steer clear of that because of two things. One, potentially a hazmat, hazardous material, cleaner, degreaser. I don't know what's in there. And it's a liquid. So those two items there, or those two reasons, I'm going to steer clear of this particular product. And the price point, So it's a third one there, $4.99. So automatically doing this. I was part of a big push several years ago with respect to come and join us. Set your business up on Amazon. Amazing Selling Machine, ASM. A lot of you may have heard of it. Some of you may not. This particular product here was hot at the time, and I think it was selling for something crazy, $20+. You see the price of that now, $5.99. It's a knife sharpener. These days, it's an add-on product, but back then it was the hot selling product, and everybody was jumping on it. That, along with silicone barbecue gloves and measuring spoons. Before you say it, Rob, this here, nice looking product. Salt and pepper mill, glass. Product to avoid. Bounty, branded product. Avoid it. Moving parts, lots of moving parts, plus the size, and I'm not sure of the weight as well. Move on. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm actually applying the logic as I'm actually searching through this. It's a very broad sort of term I actually put in there, kitchen products. But we're going to cover sort of how to actually look at this later on, maybe in the next session, with respect to what keywords. I'm picking your niche with respect to, obviously I've gone kitchen here, so therefore it's the kitchen niche that I'm looking in at. But you can see what I'm doing as I'm scanning down. There's lots of products there, so there's a potential of one of those products being missed out, and then you bet your bottom dollar that someone's actually going to count those. You say, you know what, where's my set of tongs? It's not in there. Return this. Moving parts, again, scalps, yeah, okay, maybe. The safe products. But you can see what I'm doing. This one here, I know it's for a fact, patented product. So this may look good, it's 196. It's just a bit of plastic. It's a patented product, I know that. So, but again, I've been doing this for a while. Rob and I have been doing this, so it just comes intuitively. Go ahead, Rob. I think you're trying to say something. He's dropped out. So, you can actually apply the logic as you're rolling through here quite easily. So there's some obvious products on there that I would definitely steer clear of. There's a few other products that are in the safe zone. That doesn't actually mean that I have found a winning product. Not at all. It just means that you can actually go ahead and sort of look at, does it meet some of the other criteria? Are you with us again, Rob?
I am with us. Hey, so you can get to see my face now. So about those KitchenAid things up there at the top, one of my thought processes, and that gave me a good analogy, where I see sometimes people decide that, oh, well, if I sold a soup ladle, that people want a soup ladle, they want a knife cutlery thing, where that guy had 47 items in there, and not to say somebody doesn't want that, but the reality is how many of those are you going to sell? Don't unnecessarily combine multiple products. All of a sudden everybody's going to want it, because that's not the case. Because if I don't need a pair of shears with my soup ladle, that's not going to help me. So I guess that was the point in that, is that if you're going to add another product to it, I always like to add the other product and make the other product like a bonus more than what it is as added value. Because I think what it does is it distracts from what your product is. And if I'm not looking for a spoon and a pair of scissors, then I'm going to ignore your product because it's not what I'm looking for. So just make sure that if you're combining something, that you're not adding, something in here that doesn't make sense. So, if you're going to add something, you may not even put it in your main picture. It may be just an addition. Really, that second product, if you're going to do it, if you're doing it for trying to create a unique product, is really more just for that. It's really not for the fact that you're going to, really feature that. But, so anyway, I guess that's my point there.
Now that's a good point, because back in the day, that was one of the techniques that was taught. So it doesn't matter what it is, just put it in and have that as a featured benefit, i.e., measuring spoons with a free coffee spoon to go with it. Now, that was one of my old products, by the way, that we may well bring up and discuss at some point. But the point there is, what I was trying to do, and what the sort of guidelines were. The main product was measuring spoons. The add-on bonus product was the free coffee spoon, and that was a big thing. That was that was a big thing, big selling feature. It was trying to be a big selling feature with respect to get your free spoon. It's like the spoon is just as, if not more important than the actual main product. And as Rob was saying, that's not necessarily the case. Not necessarily the case at all. So you just need to be careful or smart with respect to adding some of these products on. So yeah, that's, if anybody's got any questions. I know Gene says you got a very common problem with respect to watching videos, jumping between various different webinars, listening to various different podcasts, sort of jumping all over the place with respect to YouTube and trying to get that. And it's sort of trying to, I don't know whether you coined this expression, Rob, but it was drinking from a fire hose. Information overload, basically. And if you listen to too many people, there's a lot of people out there teaching how to do this business. What we try and do is set ourselves aside and do this, so you got access to us on a weekly basis, and any time in between. But you got to take action. You got to stop, as you say, just stop watching hundreds of webinars and videos, and you need to jump in and take action. You're absolutely dead right.
There you go. So I wanted to real quick to kind of make sure and go over the strategy, the overall strategy, very quickly. So the first idea is that you got to work on this guerrilla strategy is that you've got to eliminate as much risk as you can. So we start out with the products to avoid. Then what we're doing when we start searching for products, we're looking for products that have less than 150 competitors. So that means there's less than 150 people actually selling your particular product. What we do is going to allow you to rank quicker. So what we do then is we find that product that has less than 150 competitors. Then we try to source that product. Now, when we're sourcing that product, we're hoping that we can get the right cost factor in it. We're hoping that we can get the right price. But we also want to find a manufacturer that will sell us 50 and 200 of these items, depending on your cost. If it's a $80 item, which we don't suggest you sell an item that's that expensive at first, but an item that is, let's say is $10, well, and you want to spend less than $1,000 on the sample. And so what we try to do is to encourage you to get about 100 items, make sure you have a great listing, put that product up on Amazon. And then people often ask me, well, hey, Rob, how do I get on the front page? Well, how you get on the front page with Amazon is they'll sell it to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that product, you're going to have 7 to 10 reviews. Now, how do you do that? Well, you're going to have to use your imagination on that. But guys, we can get reviews. You just have to work on it. And then we also have a review process. There's some great services out there or sites out there that do discount products that are like the old review groups that were out there, because that's not okay anymore. But what they are is a company like SnagShout or LaunchZone. What they do is they offer your product at the people who signed up for their what's the right word? Membership area. You pay it $2.99 a month to be in their membership area, and what happens is Amazon sellers go in there and give away their product over and over again. those are some great places to go see what products you shouldn't be selling. Go in there, and if you see a bunch of people selling it, then guess what? There's some likelihood that's not a good product to sell because there's a bunch of people and they're selling it. So that gives you a pretty good indication. So what you do is you do promotional items on your product, as well as, you know, you put out notifications on Facebook or in Facebook groups, and we'll go into more of those social media aspects. Now, I don't expect you to go learn to be a social media guru, but we have some tips where you can get some outside people to really work your listing and get some people to come from the outside in, where you don't have to spend any money, which is important when you're doing this product test. So you get your product, you get these guys to do some promotional things for $3.99, $4.99, and so these people are paying this little bit of money and they're getting these items there. Well, what's happened is these people were former reviewers, so they have that in their blood. And what happens is about 50% of them are now leaving reviews. Promotions, you get these. Once you have some reviews, once you have your 100 products in there, is we got to find out. And how you find that out: the first page, the second page, and the third page. So you go in and find out when your product's listed as number 1 on page 1, 2, or 3, you can sell it. So you pay for that spot. And as we're testing, we're trying to make sure that our pictures will work. And so what we're going to do is I use a software called Splitly. And what Splitly does is it allows you to test out different pictures, test out different headlines, and it will show you through a week whether or not picture A or picture B converts better, or your first title, you know, converts better or worse. So what that does is it allows you to tweak in your listing, your pay-per-click, and you're seeing whether people buy it or not. Front page, upon what you offer. 1,000 of them. That doesn't change whether people want it or not, or whether you can compete in that market. It is get your product, is you get in there to find if your item is on for the third page, at the top or the bottom, whether or not people are willing to buy your product. So if you put 10,000 impressions in front of people and no headline, to try different bullet points, go for 45 to 60 days, and we've got those, and we can't figure out how to sell them. That means art could be we're going to see what happens now. Like, the thing is, if you got 100 products, you can go back in, but dealing with less than 150 competitors and much more likelihood that you could be is
looks like we lost Rob. But yeah, basically, just try and find a product that's got less than 150 competitors. That's the first thing we need to look at, and that's some of the things we're going to be looking at sort of on the next call. Looks like Rob's come back. So I just want to finish off, or if anybody's got any other questions, we're at about the hour mark at the moment. We try and keep these to around an hour, bearing in mind it's Sunday night. Can't see anything else coming in. Let me just check over here.
Hey,
Any more for any more?
hello.
Yeah, we've got you back, Rob. No, we haven't.
You get your product there, you do it doesn't, you liquidate it.
Right, just to finish off that part of the conversation, we've got three options. If your product is doing well and it's selling, obviously order and keep on going, and then keep on going and boosting that. And then you've got to start looking for your second sort of product and third product. So that's the first option. The second option is if your product is not selling and it's stuck inside Amazon, what you need to do is look at liquidating that particular product, and there's various different things we can do there. Reduce the price down. Everything's price driven inside so Amazon. So reduce your price down, change the title, add some words in there that we can help you with that. So that's the second option you're looking at. If and the third option is basically you just got to rinse and repeat. Just do it again. And basically just pick a different product, different niche, and just rinse and repeat, and just do the whole process again, start again. So I think that's what sort of Rob was saying. Johnny's got a good question actually. Yeah, so Rob, where are the review sites and software that you are mentioning, i.e., launches on? We've got the details for that, Johnny. Well, we can send you some information. In fact, we'll put that into the Facebook group. So let me make a note, and I should send that out to all the members as well. Some information on
Launch
that.
is on.
Yeah. All right, team. If anybody's got any questions in the meantime, all of those that have joined the sort of the boot camp, you got access to the boot camp Basecamp Facebook page. Please post your questions in there. Most of you have got Skype ID for Rob and I. If you're totally stuck, just give us a buzz. If we're available, then we'll come on and try and answer that. Bearing in mind we've got different time zones. So we've got all that going up. So basically, yeah, just reach out to us. We've got various different ways of doing that. So if you've got any questions, so it's all good. In the meantime, we'll be around, but it's going to be same time same thing next week, but maybe we'll start actually diving into looking for products.
Yes. I'll see you guys later. Maybe
Take care, everyone.
have my ghost voice still out. See you later, alligators.
In a while, crocodile. Love it.
Hey, you can do this. Get out there, pick a product.
Indeed, indeed. Indeed, indeed. All right, team. We're out here. Take care. Bye-bye.